Hi guys, thanks for joining us for this breaking update that we're getting to you from the English camp. The Ashes is on. England find themselves trailing 2-0 and there isn't particularly good news coming in from the English camp at the moment. What we're learning is that Ollie Pope has been ruled out for the remainder of the Ashes series. He has dislocated his shoulder. He underwent scans on Monday and it is now believed that there's a long rehab process now that he's looking at, which effectively means that Ollie Pope will not be taking any part in the Ashes, and that's to say that the remaining 3 test matches we move to Headingley next, and you won't see Ollie Pope in any form of action now. So big blow for England because they're going to be looking at alternatives now. Nobody as far as a replacement is concerned. Yes. There is no official replacement that's been named yet, but a big blow as far as England are concerned at the moment.
Now, yes, Ollie Pope, remember, even with that dislocated shoulder, he hit 42 and 3. He batted despite the pain. And remember, no substitution was allowed for him. He was still asked to come on to the field despite being out for a long period of time. The batting position, everything of that was very complicated at Lords. But I don't know how England are going to fit in a batter in that 11 that they'll take on at Leeds, but there is a replacement in the squad as such.
Yes.
Dan Lawrence of Essex. Dan Lawrence, remember, in the last couple of first-class games that you look at it in the county division, he has had scores of 52, 75, even a 150-plus score that he's had. So Dan Lawrence is an ideal replacement in that sense, and he's been touted as one of the next big things in England cricket because his consistency in the last couple of seasons for Essex. And Essex, remember, who is still their leading run getter, a certain Sir Alistair Cook. So, in that sense, Alistair Cook has backed Dan Lawrence to do really well in Test cricket in the near future. Whether he will come to play in the Leeds Test, it remains to be seen. But yes, Ollie Pope, it's a big miss. Remember, he did not set the stage on fire in the 2 tests at Edgbaston and at Lords. And you kind of expected maybe Ollie Pope's form could be the major concern for England, but now his injury, how will they rejig that batting 11? It remains to be seen now because England are 2-0 down. They have to rewrite 87 years of history. Because remember, only one team in the history of Test cricket has come back from 0-2 down to win 3-2. Ollie Pope could have gone a long way in ensuring that, okay, England's middle order had some stability. Yeah. But with his absence now, like many people are saying, even Ravichandran Ashwin pointed out that Nathan Lyon's absence for Australia could be a lifeline for England. Maybe Ollie Pope's absence now could negate that lifeline slightly.
But when you look at it now with both teams, this looks like a bigger jolt for England if you ask me. Australia do have, let's say, not a like-for-like replacement, but let's say a replacement that can do just the job, let's say, or can bring enough to the table as far as making up for the spin bowling department is concerned, because the Pacers are doing incredibly well anyway. But with England now, they're already struggling with the bat now. For them to bring in a batter who's not been tested enough makes them look weaker going into the 3rd test match than, let's say, Australia, who are not just high on confidence at the moment, but let's say despite injuries in both the camps, Australia still look to be the team which have the upper hand going into the 3rd test match.
Yes, I mean, see, a 2-0 advantage any time puts an opposition in a much better spirit, and Australia under the supreme, I mean, it has been a brilliant leadership exhibition from Pat Cummins. Yeah. That is why I'm saying maybe baseball approach, if you get any new guy in, maybe he can get that confidence and that license to play well. So maybe Dan Lawrence can get a chance, but then it may be too premature to guess what it is. See, Ollie Pope, he wasn't playing in a typical baseball man. He was playing conventional cricket, but with the right amount of speed, you may argue. The setup was done by the likes of maybe Zach Crawley, Ben Duckett. Yeah. Then you had Ben Stokes in that sense. So that is why you look at it, England might not be too perturbed by the fact, but yes, their batting really has to step up because you see the losses in Edgbaston and Lords. What was the common thread in that? 2 major collapses. That 6 for 47 collapse that they had at Lords was the key factor in that. But remember, if you want Dan Lawrence in, maybe you have to filter in someone like a Ben Foakes. whether he could come in, because England are already pondering changes for the third test. There's a speculation that there might be no James Anderson. There might be no James Anderson. Rehan Ahmed has already been let out of the squad. Maybe Chris Wokes could come in. So we could see.
Mark Wood also, you never know, depending on his availability.
He's a definite sure shot in. Australia have gotten away because England's baseball technique on those flat pitches were undone by Mark Wood's unavailability. And remember, Mark Wood, 85-90 miles per hour bowler, and last test that he played in Australia, he got 6 wickets. Unfortunate injury, and because of that, if Wood comes in, then it will be a game changer for England.
Dex has an interesting proposition as far as a replacement is concerned. He mentions the name of a certain Joss Butler, but Dex, interestingly, Joss, of course, he's not in the scheme of things at the moment, and in the county as well, his involvement was not to be seen. He's busy playing, let's say, T20 cricket at the moment. He's playing the Vitality Blast right now. But interestingly, it was the case was yesterday only that we were just having a look at his numbers in Test cricket. They don't make for a good reading at all. The last 10 innings that you see, there's just 150 that he has to his name. Otherwise as well, for somebody like him who's played so many Test matches, he averages just about 31 at the moment. For somebody batting at the position that he used to bat, you'd expect him to have at least an average of about 38, 40, if not more. So that's not been the case, which is why Joss Butler is not going to be in the scheme of things. But I think I read somebody ask about the surgery as well. As far as the surgery for Ollie Pope is concerned, not a lot of details being shared, but what we do know at the moment is that the surgery hasn't happened yet, because it was only yesterday that the scan had taken place, and the decision has now been made public. What will happen now going forward is that under the watchful eyes of the English Cricket Board, as well as the Surrey Cricket Board as well, his condition will now be monitored, and whatever process will be followed as far as medical attention is concerned, it will be done in the due supervision of the two cricket boards. That's as far as Ollie Pope is concerned. For those of you joining us right now, and quite a lot of you, I see the numbers just gone up. A quick update for all of you all. Thanks firstly for joining in. But the news from the English camp that we're getting is that Ollie Pope has been ruled out for the remainder of the Ashes series. So no Ollie Pope over the course of the next 3 Test matches that are left. England already 2-0 down. No official replacement being named as yet, but you do expect there to be changes now, obviously.
A lot of changes now. With Ollie Pope's exit, you are also expecting the likes of Moeen Ali also. They are hoping that he recovers, because you don't have a proper spin bowling option apart from Joe Root. Now, are you going to try the entire 5 Test Ashes series with Joe Root as your special spinner? That will be the key. But yes, lots and lots of changes expected with this.
Absolutely. This in many ways, there's already so much chatter going around the Ashes at the moment.
Check out Sports Today for all the videos we have done on the Ashes, because it's crazy at this point in time. The amount of hostility, the amount of negative press that the Australians are getting.
There's little banter that I see in this. This is now getting a little edgy now for both the sides. Of course, what this also does is it makes things a little more interesting, let's say, because you don't know what to expect from the two teams. Of course, at the moment you can predict maybe an Australia 11 with far more accuracy than, let's say, the England 11 for the third Headingley Test match. But other than that, lots and lots happening as far as the Ashes is concerned. We are at Sports Day. We'll keep you updated with every bit happening, not just in the Ashes, but remember there's the SAF Cup happening as well. The final happening tonight. There's Wimbledon as well. So we're absorbed with all the sporting action, and like we always do, we're going to be keeping you updated at all times. What you need to do is tap that bell icon so that whenever we go live, you'll get that notification on your phone screen. And as always, we'll be able to not just share that information with you, but also converse with you like we always do. So for now, that's Siddharth Vishwanath. My name is Harshit. Thank you so much for joining us.
Bye-bye.